For our weekly episode, we have a bonus episode to share with you all. If you like more content like this, for just $3 a month, become an official Wanderer. We release these as part of our listener package when you subscribe. We appreciate each and every one of you, and remember to keep on wandering. Hi, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Courtney.
Join us as we delve into true crime, paranormal encounters, and all things spooky.
Grab your flashlight and get ready to wander into the darkness with us.
This is Wicked Wanderings. Hi, Courtney.
Hi, Hannah.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. So you got this interesting little trivia book for a little bonus episode.
Yeah. So I was thinking a lot about the Wanderers because it's spooky season.
Whoop, whoop.
And I was on a weekend outing, kind of going to the bookstore, which if you don't know me, that's kind of what I do for relaxation, for decompression, for fun, all those things. And I was perusing a different Barnes & Noble than where I go to. I actually don't remember where in Connecticut I was, but I was in Connecticut. And I saw that they had a true crime book with all trivia questions. And I was thinking it was kind of fun because Hannah and I, a long, long time ago, way back when, we used to go to trivia at the 99.
Oh my God,
Rob.
yes.
And Rob was always way better at trivia than us. Shout out, Rob. But I was like, you know what kind of trivia we would nail? True crime.
True crime.
And then as I quickly flipped through it, I was like, damn, I don't know any of this stuff.
Yes.
So I was like, you know what? The Wanderers might really enjoy this too.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd buy it and we could go through a couple of them for some different bonus episodes.
I love that so much. So we're going to start at the beginning, guys, and just like see where it takes us.
It's a long book, so if
Yeah.
you really want to know all about it, I mean, you can get it, but it could be more fun to do it with us.
And it's called Totally Terrifying True Crime Trivia by Brian Boone.
And we'll link that in the show notes for you too, as
Show
always.
notes.
Shout out, show notes.
So the first chapter is actually called Murder Most Foul. And underneath it says the most bizarre, horrifying, and surprising tales of murder history has to offer.
Ooh.
Up my alley. So the first one we're going to talk about is John Walsh, the creator and host of America's Most Wanted, had a 6-year-old son who was abducted and murdered.
Wow. And see, I wouldn't have known that.
So
The host of America's Most Wanted.
I knew that. And you know why?
didn't
I knew
know that.
Rob told me.
The king of trivia himself, right? This is what I mean, Wanderers. Rob is like a wealth of information.
Yes.
If you don't know Rob in real life, he's a gem. He knows things about literally everything. He's going to edit this out. He's going to edit this out. You better not edit this out. If you don't know, Rob is also not here. He's working the biggie. Shout out. We love a hardworking man.
We do.
But he really does know trivia about all sorts of things. So I'm not surprised, though I am impressed that he already knew that.
Yeah, so me and Rob like to watch the show Cops. I mean, sometimes it's weird watching because it's like, okay, there is police brutality even when it's being videotaped. But not always. I just want to say it for the record. But anyways, besides the point, John Walsh was actually on one of the episodes.
Really?
Yes. And Rob's like, oh, well, you know, the reason he started was because, you know, his own child got killed. And I was like, really? Interesting. No idea.
No, me neither. And I've definitely, I mean, I wouldn't say that I watched that a lot, but I would say that I have watched quite a few different episodes, especially like for research for the podcast. Like if I'm looking at something, then I go look it up and see if it's on there. But I did not know that at all until just now.
I know. Interesting,
Even
right?
though I purchased the book, I didn't read that one.
While his mother looked at lamps at a Sears.
Oh,
In
God,
July,
back.
in July 1981, Adam Walsh went to check out the Atari games. Some teens were playing, got into a fight about whose turn it was, and store security threw everybody out, including Adam. After 90 minutes of fruitless searching in and around the store for Adam, Reve Walsh contacted police. 2 weeks later, the severed head of Adam Walsh was found in a drainage canal 130 miles away. 2 years later, serial killer Otis Toole, in prison for a different murder, confessed to Walsh's murder, which he later recanted. Authorities still determined Toole to be responsible and the case was closed. The tragedy inspired Adam's father, John, to create a show that could bring justice and closure to other families.
I did not know that.
And it's an icon name of a show. Like, crazy.
Right. And I feel like that's so awesome that he went on to actually, you know, do something else with it too.
Yeah.
I feel like what a good way to do that. If anybody knew about that or didn't know about that, send us a text. We love getting texts. If you're not familiar with that,
Text us.
we definitely get texts. Again, it's totally compliant with, you know, maintaining your privacy. We only see like the town and the city that you're from.
And
But
we can't text you back.
we can't text you back, but we do love to read the texts and read them on the air.
Yep.
Shout out cousin Mark.
And come on, Sarah, text us.
Come on, Sarah, text us. Girl, text us. Okay. So the next one in this same chapter, Murder Most Foul, says snuff films are an urban legend.
What's a snuff film? Should I look that up? Or did it tell you?
Look that up because I don't want to read ahead. But yeah, snuff films are an urban legend.
Google.
I don't really have a thought about this because I'm still wondering what a snuff film is. I thought it was like about people being murdered, but I'm not really.
Yeah, so it's a theoretical film that depicts a real murder, usually for financial gain. The term is based on the idea that the film snuffs out life.
Okay.
Huh.
Okay, so we're talking about like a real crime that happened and we're videotaping it to make money off of it.
Okay.
But not the actual crime, like a recreation.
Okay. I could see why that would piss people off.
Snuff films are an urban legend.
I'm
So
ready.
snuff films, videotaped records of the murder of a human being, factor prominently into the plots of many unsettling movies, but they aren't real. No law enforcement agency in the US, Europe, or Asia has ever discovered one. Their existence is an urban legend set off in the early 1970s when filmmaker Ed Sanders claimed in the Charles Manson documentary, The Family, that the murder cult had used Super 8 cameras to make brutality films. No such tapes ever surfaced. So it's not about the recreation. Snuff films are legitimate filming of murder, but they don't exist.
So is it like if they pretended it was a film in order to get away with the murder?
I don't know. Wonders.
That's weird.
What do you think about that? I mean, really, I know we're trying to get you guys to text us, but Hannah and I both don't know much about this. So if you know anything about snuff films or you have thoughts about snuff films, send us a text. Definitely send us a text on that one. The next one, Kathleen Peterson may have died as the result of an owl attack.
Oh, owls are my favorite animal. I don't know if you know that about
Really?
me.
I really actually didn't. I mean, I knew you liked owls because when we were at the Biggie, I saw Rob pointing at an owl. But I didn't know they were your favorite. Do you know who Kathleen Peterson is?
No.
Me neither. Okay.
Interesting.
So the popular true crime documentary, The Staircase, made it seem like Michael Peterson had killed his wife, Kathleen, in 2001 by pushing her down a flight of stairs.
Oh, yes.
You
I know
familiar?
about this. Yes.
So it says Peterson was convicted but later released on a technical error by the prosecution, leading his attorney to investigate the possible real killer, a barred owl. Native to the Petersons' hometown in coastal North Carolina, barred owls are known to attack humans unprovoked. Kathleen Peterson's head bore talon marks and owl feathers were discovered on her body.
What?
Can you imagine? He was convicted and later released for killing his wife, but it was an owl?
Sus.
I mean, perfect crime, right?
So what? The owl got in the house, scared her, clawed at her, and she fell?
Well, it says that they are native to the area in North Carolina and that they are known to attack humans unprovoked. I mean,
Like, what are the odds of that happening?
So it seems like it must have been in the house because they were saying that he was convicted for pushing her down the stairs. I don't know about that one. Might have to do a little bit more investigating into
If that's the same case that I'm thinking of, there is a documentary and there's also a movie that was made.
Yeah, so it sounds like there's a true crime documentary, The Staircase.
Yeah, there's
So-
also a film too, I heard.
If you're interested in hearing more about that, or if you have thoughts about the owl, and we'll do another one. We'll do one more for you. An exonerated murderer met the real perpetrator of the crimes he didn't commit in prison.
Say that one more time.
An exonerated murderer, so meaning somebody who did not, he was charged but exonerated, so he did not actually commit the murders. He met the real perpetrator of the crimes that he didn't commit in prison. So the faux murderer met the real murderer in prison. I'm interested about this one. Kirk Bloodsworth. What a name, right?
God.
Kirk Bloodsworth. I mean, I can understand how he got charged because that does sound a lot like somebody looking for
Guilty.
blood, right? Right. So Kirk Bloodsworth was found guilty for the 1984 murder of a 9-year-old Maryland girl, despite a lack of compelling physical evidence and a solid alibi. So it sounds like there was some type of case here that might be worth researching more into, but the conviction was overturned, but Bloodsworth was convicted once more. In 1992, he was exonerated by DNA evidence and finally cleared and released. In 2002, the real murderer in the case was found, Kimberly Shea Ruffer, in prison for another crime. Bloodsworth knew the man. They'd been friends in prison, their sentences overlapping. They traded library books.
What?
They traded library books.
I kind of love that fact.
Yeah, I mean, they... And you know what's funny is it makes me wonder, like, who was in prison first? Right? Because if... Think about it. If Kimberly, who really murdered the 9-year-old Maryland girl, she was unnamed.
And Kimberly is a man.
Kimberly is a man.
Okay.
If Kimberly really murdered the little girl and he went to jail for something sooner, then he might not know that Kirk was in jail for the crime that he committed.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's actually pretty cool.
That's crazy. And I feel like I need a follow-up story on this because I'm like, when did he realize that he was it like after he was exonerated he realized? Did they talk about these things when they were in there? I have a lot of questions about that one, actually. This book is addicting. I can see how people could keep reading this book like many, many times.
Do you want a tab?
I kind of think we should. What do you think, Wanderer? Should we do one more today? Should we do just 5?
Can I do one?
4 seems kind of weird. So I'm going to let Hannah do the 5th one. So it's the first one on this page. We're passing the book.
Ooh. The Amityville Horror.
Damn. How'd you get the best one? I do 3 in a row, and then that's the things I get. Okay, Hannah, fine.
Do you want to do it?
No,
It's your book.
It's our book.
Okay. The Amityville Horror was inspired by a real-life murder house, which I knew. Did you know? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think anyone a fan of anything spooky probably knows that.
Well, I would also say that if you're a New England horror fan,
yes,
because I'm thinking like people who are across the country, we have listeners in different countries, right?
We do.
They might not, I mean, the Amityville Horror House is kind of a big deal, but they might not be as familiar.
That's very true.
Weren't they doing tours of it too, kind of recently?
You're thinking of the Conjuring House.
I am thinking. We have so much good spooky shit in New England.
We do. We really do.
Yeah, we're blessed.
We are.
Hashtag
blessed. Blessed with spookiness.
Blessed with spooky things.
Like, who says that? We do. That's fine.
Sorry about the people who were not blessed by the spooky things. Anyways, back to the Amityville.
The horror movie franchise, The Amityville Horror, is based on a book that recounts the allegedly true story of George and Kathy Lutz, who moved into a house in Amityville, New York, where Ronald Defoe, murdered his parents and 4 siblings while they slept in 1974. They moved out after a month, claiming to be tormented by evil spirits, the same ones that must have directed Defoe to kill his family. After the release of the Amityville Horror book, Defoe's attorney, William Weber, I don't know, sued the Lutzes for breach of contract after cutting him out of the publishing deal. Weber revealed that he and the Lutzes had gotten drunk one night and invented the entire haunted house story.
What? Did that just tell us that Amityville is a fraud?
I mean, there's a moment of pause here, people, because
we are. Excuse me.
So wait, I'm kind of still stuck on the fact that the Weber and the Lutzes got drunk together.
That seems odd. Yeah.
What? Huh.
I'm gonna look that up.
Okay.
I'm gonna look that up
like
right now.
If this guy is the attorney for Ronald Defoe, who did the murders, right? Why would they get drunk with the lawyer, the attorney? That doesn't make sense.
Let's see.
Okay, even if it's not real, right?
So,
they made it all up. Like, there has to be evil in that house, right? Like, wouldn't there just be like that residual? Maybe, I don't know.
So I'm going to where all the real information in the world comes from, Reddit. And I'm reading a paranormal branch post that says Amityville Horror House, true terror or clever hoax. So the first post says, my dad's old partner was the forensic investigator on this case. When I was in high school and got into weird paranormal stuff, I asked him at a barbecue once about this case. This guy was a no-nonsense Vietnam veteran who kind of scared the crap out of me. He said the strangest thing about the case was that all the family members were found in their beds with no signs of struggle. The caliber of rifle used would have been loud and should have woken everyone up. I could tell when he was telling me the story, he was really thinking how odd it was. As for the Warrens, he said he never had any contact with them, but that it was all BS. And people are really getting into some, like, really political type stuff. Like, and again, we're not saying these are our thoughts or opinions. We're just reading a thread. But one person said the family was heavily drugged with barbiturates. Somebody else said the Warren family, that they're scam artists, plain and simple.
I don't think that. Like, I like the Warrens, but
someone else said they definitely had a long career of making stuff up, but at the very least, they did investigate 966 Lindley Street, Bridgeport, Connecticut case, and that was legitimate. I lived and still live about 1 mile from the house.
Oh, that Bridgeport one? If it's the one I'm thinking of, like, that one's freaking crazy.
Well, this person said, I lived and still live about 1 mile from the house, and the stories from the cops and firemen never went away that something strange happened in the house. I think there were the Warrens, with whom I share a neighborhood in the city of Bridgeport, can at least be credited with actually traveling to a lot of the big cases of the time from way back. It's at least a redeeming quality that over that long stretch, they investigated their lives and populating the community that currently exists today. I think they meant invested, but yeah. Like, and some of the things that are said here are wild. Like, the next person says the funeral director was into necromancy. He did things to the bodies. A boy disappeared during a seance. That was all true, but a lot of stuff with the family all made up. Ed Warren told the author they were friends to make it scary and the family was crazy. The book was to make the Warrens look good. The movie Haunting in Connecticut didn't mention the Warrens. As to Amityville, the Lutzes said things happened, but not what the book said. They denounced the book. George was to write his own version, but died before he could. Jay Anson died soon after of a heart attack. Now I've been to the house several times. It's lovely, and there are still looky-loos that stare at it. I live an hour away. Now, if I had the money, I'd buy it in a heartbeat. People buy it and live there for a while and end up reselling it. Not because of ghosts, because it's a famous house or infamous, and it still attracts people. Before the Lutzes were there, were the DeFeos. Let's not forget
That's why I know if it was Defoe or DeFeo.
DeFeo, maybe? Or Defoe. The Defoes. Let's not forget about the tragedy that occurred. Ronnie was messed up. His father was abusive towards his family. Back then, they called it being hard or rough, and that drove him to murder his father, but don't understand why the rest of the family. The mystery why no one heard the shots still can't be explained. Even the neighbors didn't hear anything. Some say drugs, but that was never proven. I believe the Lutzes had a poltergeist, the resentment the kids had towards George, the prepubescent kids, George worrying about his mortgage and making Kathy happy, his failing business, all added to it. Great atmosphere for poltergeist. So when the Lutzes left with the dog, the activity ceased. I liked the first movie as a horror movie, not so much the remake.
Have you seen The Haunting in Connecticut, by the way?
Yes.
I don't know how I feel about it.
I think I saw it a long time ago.
The one where he had to find the bodies in the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of these are really hard because I feel like a lot of people, anytime a story is retold many times, it loses a little bit of its truth, right? It's like that game in elementary school, telephone game. Every person who hears the story disseminates a different story.
So thinking about it without knowing that, and all right, let's pretend that that whole haunting was not real, that they didn't experience any of that. I feel like there would still be something residual in the house. When something that traumatic happens, there 100%, has to be.
100%.
And especially if people, even without a real haunting, people are going there with negative thoughts, negative energy.
Yeah.
There's something to be said for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's even visiting places where you know horrible things happened, you can feel a little bit of that in place, I think. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You can do another one if you want. I feel bad that you...
No, we can't read the whole book today. Courtney would love to read the whole book today, but we will save some for next time. Well, thank you, Wanderers, for listening to another one of our bonus episodes.
And ranting.
And stay tuned for more shenanigans.
Thank you for the shit show.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening today. Wicked Wanderings is hosted by me, Hannah.
And co-hosted by me, Courtney.
And it's produced by Rob Fitzpatrick.
Music by Sasha N.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to leave a rating and review, and be sure to follow on all socials. You can find the links down in the show notes. If you're looking for some really cozy t-shirts or hoodies, head over to the merch store. Thank you for being a part of the Wicked Wanderings community. We appreciate every one of you. Stay curious, keep exploring,
and always remember to keep on wandering.
Hey there, beer lovers. I'm Rob Fitz, host of Beers That Fits, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of the craft beer world. Every Thursday, I sit down with passionate owners and brewmasters of your favorite breweries to uncover their stories, inspiration, and brewing secrets. Whether you're a seasoned beer connoisseur or just starting your craft beer journey, we've got something for everyone. So grab a pint, tune in, and let's toast to great beers and even better stories. Slanja. Find us wherever you get your podcasts.